Hello and welcome to episode 19 of this Blender Nudity Crash Course. So now I guess we're going to create some skins for this this coin. We're going to create some new different ones. So let's just select this here. Let's hit Control D and duplicate it, move it over a little bit. I'm actually thinking of like North American coins, a penny, a dime, and a dollar. So I guess I'll change this maybe to 0.6. This will be the copper one. Sure, 0.6 works. Let's go to materials. Let's duplicate this material. So the only thing different about this right now, until we get the script going, is going to be the way it looks. So we'll change this gold coin to copper coin. Okay, and I'm just going to leave the yellow material there, but it might work a little bit better if you change it to the white one. So let's just maybe do something like that. Sure. Got the materials here. Drag this onto this one here. Perfect. Now we can rename this here. Copper coin asset. Okay, and it's got everything else set up. Right, it's got its trigger here with the script there when we go to write that. Let's go to prefabs, drag this down here, create original prefab. Okay, we can double click this here and just set the position back to 0, 0, 0. Okay, because you might have many in your world, it won't actually change the prefab's position, which is nice when you're in this view here. Okay, so that said, let's create the other one. So let's duplicate this one. Let's call this silver coin asset, and we'll have maybe some sparkles coming off of this or something like that, just so that the player can actually see these from a little bit of a distance. And I think, you know what, we'll actually do something else as well. Well, let's create this one first. So materials, let's duplicate this one here. Let's rename this silver coin, and I think I'll just change this back to white. Change this right here. Remember, you can click these little circles to search. So right now we're going to search in our assets, obviously. Let's take this one here, and I'll just change it to a little bit more white. Let's make it maybe a little bit smoother. 0.8, sure. Right, drag that onto that one there. Okay, now we have our silver coin. Let's go prefabs, drag this in, original prefab, double click, and we can just set this to 0, 0, 0 again. So the last thing I think we'll do before we start creating our player is give ourselves one more thing to work with, one more game asset. So we'll create a skin for this crate here, and we'll have it red. Maybe we'll have it say TNT in yellow and put some lines on it and stuff like that. Right, so if we come down here to our textures, and we find this one here, what I want to do is just paint onto this, basically, but I want to make a new one. So I'm going to right click here. If you go to Show and Explorer, it'll show you where these folders are on your computer. So here we have it, and the metadata files are all there. All we want to do is right click this one here, copy, right click, paste, change this view a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we have this one here. I'm going to rename this at the beginning to say TNT. Okay. Now I just want to open this up in Blender. So go to your crate file. Just hide all these here. Select them all and hit H, and then unhide your LOD 0. So let's go into shading. Let's change this texture. Remember now the texture's in our game file, so let's find that. Textures. Here we go. TNT. Perfect. All right. Now we can go into texture paint. And here we have our TNT texture right here. We can paint this now. So one of the cool tools with this Blender paint, texture paint, is we can go to blend, change this to color. Okay, this is not going to affect any lightness or darkness, but it is going to change the base color and the hue of any color on this picture that I paint to red, or whatever we choose here. I'll choose some like darker red. Alright, press F again, just to mention, to change the size of your brush. I'm going to make this gigantic. Whew. Jeez. I guess a little bit more orange, maybe? A little bit duller. Let's try that. Just see how this looks. Okay, not bad. Alright, let's go with that. So I'm going to say image, save as, and just save this as the TNT. Remember, we can duplicate this again should this not turn out the way we want. I'm going to save. Now I want a little stencil to say TNT in yellow. So what I'll do is I'll actually create that stencil in GIMP, and we'll use it in Blender as a brush. Let's open up GIMP, or File, New. 1024 by 1024 is a regular 1K texture, so let's go with that. Okay. Now we can go to this erase brush and just make everything transparent, basically. Let's go hardness full, force full. Okay. So I might have to come over here to layer, transparency, add alpha channel. So if this is white here, if you're able to click this, it means there's no alpha channel in the picture right now. It's just an RGB picture with no A at the end there. RGBA means it's got an alpha channel, and you can change the transparency. So we're going to just make this completely transparent. So you see these little checkers here. Usually that means that's not an image. It's a display to tell you that that is totally transparent. Blender has a similar feature. You'll see that from time to time. So let's go to this A here. This will allow us to add a text. Let's go in here and let's change this to white. White is the best thing to use for a brush because then you can tint that to anything, right? So let's type in TNT. Well, obviously, let's change this way bigger. Let's go like 400. 400. Okay, you can drag these little arrows to change the size of your text box. You can take this move tool right here. Just select different things. You can see you can choose the active layer or layer guide. Now, when you add a text, it'll add it as a new layer. Just going to stick this somewhere in the middle. I think this font is just fine. Come to this A here. You can change the font right here with this little double A button. Now, it's going to have a lot already built in for you. You can add fonts here if they're not existing in in GIMP already. So the last thing I want to do is I want to come into this brush right here. Actually, no. Sorry. I want to go back to the erase tool, and I want to make this look a little scuffed up, sort of like it's painted. So let's take. I'm just going to get the corners and stuff, I guess. Shrink this a little bit more. Okay. All right, just a cool way to make your own little decals. All right, I think that'll be just fine. So I think the last thing I'll do is I'll just take this box select right here. Let's do it right here. Let's do it right here. So we're just going to take this, make a line. I'm going to get this fill tool, make it white. Okay, I'm going to click, fill whole selection. Yeah, we got to go to our background layer here and click right there. Okay, so that'll just fill that up. Then we can go back to our brush, our erase tool, and we can scuff this up a little bit as well. We can rotate this, change the aspect ratio, but the angle will rotate it. Let's go with that. All right, so we can use this line yellow as well and just kind of make some caution things. All right, file, let's go save. Another thing you could do if you wanted to is just come up here and just remove the bottom of the image a little bit. Say image crop to selection. That'll chop off anything you've got on the on your box select there. Let's go file, export as. I'm just going to go straight to my desktop. Change this as TNT brush. Export. Don't compress. Export. Okay. Go back into Blender. So let's go to this textures tab. We did this once before. Let's go to open. Desktop. Find that brush. There we go. So now what I want to do is actually paint on the model because I don't want to. I'm not sure exactly which diagonal lines are mapped on here, so I can actually just paint the model. So let's change this back to material preview like that. Let's go back to our tools, come down to texture. Here it is right here. Let's change tiled to stencil, and we can see it right there. Reset transform, image aspect will give me exactly how I created it. All right, so let's start, I guess, marking some TNT across this. Let's, I guess, put these across here like this, and we'll do the whole top and bottom, I guess, with this line. So let's just change this to a yellow. Oh, we're still on color, so go back to mix. All right, I won't use mirror, because apparently that's going to change everything, the text to be backwards on the opposite side, so we won't do that. Totally fine. I will, however, mirror when I do this top piece. So we can just hit reset transform or change this angle right here to 0 if you're not sure if it's straight. Let's go like this. Cool. All right, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to put the TNT on the sides and on the top and the bottom, and I'll see you guys in a sec. All right, so make sure you save your image. Go image, save as, and just make sure it's in the right path. Here's the TNT texture right here in Unity. Save as. Beautiful. Okay, so now before we go and see this in Unity, I'm actually going to create one more. I think I've decided on a little game design that we're going to do. So because this is going to explode if the player hits this one, I guess he's going to get hurt. So why don't we create another crate with a question mark on it, and maybe that'll pop out some health, a bunch of gold coins, or maybe we take a page out of From Software's book and we give it the possibility to explode as well, hurt the player. So let's just go down here and close this. So hit this little X, and that'll basically tell Unity you don't want to use a texture anymore in your painter, and it'll just change back to the original. So if you haven't saved this texture, make sure you do. Save. Okay, let's go into that file path again. Now you could just go into Unity. So we have this here, and then we're just going to take this one and duplicate it. So we're going to hit Control D. So you can do it multiple different ways. I just want to prove to you that you have these folders here in your destinations on your computer as well. So we can just click this one here and hit Control D, and in that folder, in the destination on our computer, it will actually copy and paste the new texture here as well. So I'm going to go to the top and just type in random_. So this will be our random box.